on this Seahawks game, you think that it needs to be an insert blank game. What is in that blank there?
So I started thinking about Nico Collins yesterday after our discussion.
I think about Nico Collins every day.
You think about him all the time. Anyway.
I only think about him twice.
What did I
Night and day.
I can't remember exactly where it was. He was ranked, 18th? Maybe even lower than that among receivers.
Total yardage?
Yeah, remember we were talking about that yesterday? So I was like, dang, man, that needs to pick up. And then I started looking at Nico as it pertains to the Seahawks game. I think this needs to be a Nico game, and I think beyond that, it may have to be a Nico game because it may have to be a Nico game. What's that segment you like to call?
A segment I like to call reading.
Reading. So I was reading Brian Nemhauser, who has been a Seahawks beat writer forever, like at least 20 years, somewhere in that. And he wrote something that even made me think about this even more. So I'm going to do your favorite segment right here.
Excellent.
The Texans have, this is what he wrote, the Texans have the highest explosive play rate versus zone coverage in the NFL.
Wait, let's press pause.
Yeah.
Do you got Cool in the Gang anywhere back there? I need to have a celebration. You telling me the Texans are the best in the league or something?
Versus zone coverage.
What?
Offensively.
Read it back for me one more time. I want to revel in this.
The Texans have the highest explosive play rate versus zone coverage in the NFL.
You about to hit the music, Figgy?
You want to feel better?
Yeah, even more so.
Even more so. You want to feel better, Figgy?
I do.
Seattle plays zone coverage.
Oh, love to hear it.
Zone coverage. Let me read a little more, and then I want you to kind of digest it and tell me what you think.
Number one, the best explosive play rate, baby.
We're number one. If the Seattle secondary is still injured, and it has been injured, we're going to get the first injury report today. That will only.
We're still celebrating. I'm sorry.
That's
I don't
right.
hear
That's
anything
right. I like
saying.
it.
Explosive play rate, baby. Number one in the league.
That will increase the amount of zone that McDonald employs. That could be the difference in what almost certainly will be a close game. Nico Collins is a big and gifted receiver who still does not get the recognition he deserves, and he is one of the best receivers Seattle will play this season. He is great against the zone.
Yeah.
This needs to be a Nico game, man. As much as D'Amico's out there saying we got to run the ball, we're going to double down, we're going to really do what we do best even more, as we talked about I think day before yesterday. He went on to say this in terms of against the run and such. Let me just read the whole thing here. See what you think. The left side of the Texans' offensive line is weaker than almost any Seattle has faced to this point. Rookie Ariante Ursary is a major project as a pass protector, and Scruggs is a former center who is now trying guard. But what really stands out about the Texans' pass protection problems is they are allowing the highest pressure rate in the NFL by non-offensive linemen. In other words, their running backs and tight ends have been atrocious in pass protection.
Agree.
Mm-hmm. McDonald should be spoiled for choice in creating his pass rush plan, as the Seahawks front four can win their matchups, but there will also be ample opportunity to send their defensive front their linebackers if he chooses. The Texans have not won a game when they rushed for fewer than 114 yards, but Seattle has only allowed one team to rush for more than 114 yards.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to run, and they're going to injure it in the secondary, and they're susceptible in zone coverage, and the Texans are the best in the league against zone coverage. This is a Nico Collins game.
Yeah, I mean, if you truly want to live by the mantra that this team has told us in the offseason that you're a game plan offense, to be fair, the game plan to a layman looks like run the football.
Yeah.
Not going to be easy. Throw the football. Should be easier.
Yeah.
Can you get to those things? Now, of course, football is never that simple. Otherwise, dudes would not be getting paid, millions upon millions of dollars to try and figure this out. And, there's always the they get paid to portion of this. But it does feel like you're going to need to try and find some explosive pops, throwing that ball down the field, especially because, take advantage of a weakness in here. Like you mentioned, we're going to get an injury report, but they've been missing the likes of Tariq Woolen and Witherspoon and forget the safety's name off the top of my head right this moment. But they've been dealing with injuries in that secondary, and teams have been able to capitalize, including, if I remember correctly, I think the Niners did a decent job of. I think that you should be able to do that. And the thing that comes to mind for me, though, is how much will it be a Nico specific game? Because in the 2 games that we've seen where the offense has come on, versus the Titans, versus the Ravens, there's been a nice distribution all the way across, right? With Nico still getting the line. I mean,
but he's great at that.
Getting a plurality of the touches, if not a majority, even though not a majority of the touches. Dalton Schultz getting a lot of touches himself. But then you're getting a lot of other guys eating in there. And I do wonder, when you say this needs to be a Nico Collins game, do you imagine this possibly being a Nico Collins game to the detriment of maybe some of these other guys, maybe not seeing as much of, the other guys, Higgins and maybe even Kirk and maybe even Noel, even though we haven't seen him just get a lot of attention generally, maybe them not getting as much opportunity to eat in order to really feed Nico and attack the middle and the deep portions of the field?
Well, I think, you say detriment. I don't think that's going to mean, 0 catches. What I'm saying is, against the zone, your best weapon is Nico Collins, who just has that knack for finding the open spaces. The most experienced guy is the biggest guy. We know the story. I think this is a game where he needs to go. And by the way, I actually gave him. I said he was 18th in the league in receiving. He's 38th.
That's right.
He's 38th. I gave him 20 spots too many on that. So. No, I think, as you look at this and as I read that, I was like, all right, I know what D'Amico is saying, and I know what their general, makeup is, run the ball, indoor passing. I don't think that works here. And as far as detriment to other receivers, I think Nico Collins opens it up for other receivers eventually. If he gets 5-6 catches in the first half, 4 or 5, whatever it is, all of a sudden everything changes.
As we're very familiar with, though, with this team, it's going to start with can you block it up, right? Especially if we're talking about deep shots through the air, as opposed to like maybe getting the ball out in space and allowing them to cook versus these secondary players. It's going to require an opportunity for time to throw. It's going to require that, and it's going to require everybody to be on the same page. It's going to require the offensive line to be able to pick up the numerous stunts that Mike McDonald's defense is going to come with. It's going to require particularly. The ability for C.J. Stroud to step up in the pocket, which means keeping the front of that clean. Those are all questions that very much that Seahawks defense is going to present to an offense, and it's part of the reason why they've been able to make do with the back-end players kind of being injured and having a rotation back there of guys that are less than your top line, is because their front line has been incredible. So it's still going to come down to that. But I'm with you, man. I think that there's real opportunities to get Nico Collins going. I do wonder, though, how much you're capable of getting to that if you're not able to run the football.
Well, but can you go and maybe do it upside down is what I'm saying, do it the other way. They're only going to rush 4 guys. They get away with it because they want that extra guy in the secondary and maybe loosen them up with all those zone passes and then go in reverse and start running the ball that way. Nico, he only has 22 catches, man.
Yeah, and offense was bad in those first 3 weeks. Did not stay on the field. Like we were there. We watched that. I think that the sample ends up being really crunched because there was a really slow start to the season. I'm also interested to see, and we've talked about this before, what is the jump offensively now that you'll have 15 days to prepare for this game. Not saying that that's the only thing that you're paying attention to, but from a Nick Caley and the rest of all of the brain trust offensively, I have to imagine that that's been front of mind since you got on the plane to come back from Baltimore. And so with that being the case, I would hope that they have very much taken account how you attack those things. And to be fair, it probably can't just be Nico Collins either. I feel like there's probably going to be a certain amount of attention given to him.
Dalton, this could be a Dalton at 1B.
That's the thing that I was about to bring up. I'm glad that we have a hive mind in this. Like one of the things that I saw that I was really encouraged by in that Ravens game, again, all the caveats, bad Ravens defense, hurt Ravens defense, was not just Dalton Schultz finding space and sitting down in the zone, as a lot of tight ends are capable of doing. I started seeing a little bit of get the ball and get upfield and get north and south, which those are the things that feel like are differentiating factors from just a tight end that is just like possession, getting into space, and then the tight ends that are really problematic that can get the ball, run and attack you, get some yak. I think that is one of those things that I'm hoping to maybe see from a Dalton Schultz.
When he's at his best, that's what he does. And by the way, Nico Collins with 22 catches, Dalton Schultz has 21. He has only one fewer catch than those, I was looking at this, and we all know that the Texans are going to try to run the ball. They just are. That's their makeup. That's the way they are. And I'm like, man, let's hit that zone. And and then it gets into the point, and I know we'll dig into this later, is that something that that Nick Caley is willing to do? Can he convince DeMeco Ryans? DeMeco's in those meetings now. He's not necessarily participating a lot and drawing up plays, but say, hey, look, man. I mean, they know these numbers. They know what they're facing in Seattle.
And I felt bad because as soon as I said, will they be able to do that without running, it made me feel like old crusty, right? The people that are like, oh, you got to establish the run, right? Like I started feeling like that. But the reason why I brought that up was because so much has been made with this offense about staying on schedule. Mm-hmm. Are they capable of doing that if they're going to be more of a passing outfit? Possibly.
They say they're a game plan offense. That's the subplot here. This will tell us if they really are.
Yeah,
because the game plan should be attacking that zone defense.
100%.